Hi.
Matt is an ex-tutor now, actually. I'll let you tell the story in a little bit. But he's also our content manager at LSG, which is a new thing that we've got going on. So that's really exciting. But today, I guess we wanted to talk a little bit about you and your time during VCE. You did an amazing job at sort of balancing work and VCE and your social life, and you know, that's something that I've always known about you as well, because ever since Matt joined our team, I've always known that he's balanced 2 different jobs, one elsewhere, one at LSG, and then also your uni as well. So you've obviously got some organisational skills that we can probably learn from. So yeah, why don't you introduce yourself a bit?
Okay, so I'm Matt, obviously. I graduated, not this year, I graduated last year in 2018. I did fairly well. I got a 96.4 ATAR and a 46 in English, which I was very surprised with. And I started work when I was 15, which we'll be talking about later on in this video. I was really just keen to get into it, earn some extra cash, get some experience, open up a little bit, like become less shy. And that was at Macca's, and I've been there ever since. And then when I graduated, I was approached by Lisa to actually become a tutor with LSG, which I did all throughout 2019, which I really, really enjoyed. And then a role came up for me to actually be the content manager for LSG, which I was very excited about. And I've been doing that and Macca's ever since. And I've found it really enjoyable. I've really grown from it. It's been great, like working with the company.
Awesome,
Yeah.
I'm glad. He has to say that.
Yeah.
When did you start this job?
When I was 15.
When you were 15?
Yeah.
So I guess you were already pretty accustomed to the job itself before you started VCE.
Yeah.
And how did work fit in with everything?
Well, I was lucky because with work, it was very flexible. And I was friends with the rostering manager, so she knew how many hours I wanted and when. So that helped because I was able to basically choose my hours and have pretty regular hours, so I could plan my week around that. So it's not like I was saying, oh, I don't know, like how many hours I'm going to be working next week, so I can't work at all, or I don't know how many hours I'm going to be working, so I can't study for this SAC, or I'm going to be underprepared for this English exam or whatever. It was very like predictable.
Oh, that's
so I think
good.
that was like what helped me balance everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have to have that conversation with your like roster manager?
Yeah.
If that's what.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
I just kind of spoke to her saying, okay, I want like this many hours per week.
Yeah.
And I was part-time, so like it was, I think, a minimum of 10 hours a week. And I was getting, I don't know, like 10 to 12. Okay. And I found that for me, personally, like that was manageable. Yeah. And that was something that actually, again, helped me not study all the time. Yeah.
How many shifts would that be?
I think 2.
Okay.
It'd be like a short shift on like a Thursday, Friday night.
Yeah.
And then a long shift on Saturday. Usually something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And then would your social life sort of work around that?
I used to find like it would be like Saturday nights and Sundays. So I didn't work Sundays, that was kind of like my me day.
Okay. Your me day, I love that.
Yeah, where I'd have like, I do homework and stuff obviously, but also not have to worry about anything else. Just worry about like what I wanted to do and what I felt I needed for the week ahead, I guess. Yeah.
If you had talked to your roster manager, and let's just say if she'd come back to you and said, no, like you need to do more than X number of hours that you were uncomfortable with, what would have been, I guess, what would have gone through your mind at that point in time?
It would have been like a consideration of whether the job was sustainable, I guess. And of course you could like go about like getting a roster and then getting shifts covered, or trying to swap shifts so you get less hours. Or I could have taken it like to a higher level, like to my restaurant manager or above, and said, okay, well, this isn't going to work for me. Yeah. I'm sure there's something that they could have done if that situation arose, but luckily it didn't. Yeah. But I think with where I work, it's quite flexible. So there's always going to be someone else that can do that shift or whatever.
Yeah, I heard from other people as well who've worked during VCE that having that conversation with their manager or like hiring person, whoever it is, that, you know, you're in VCE and these next 2 years are going to be a little bit more hectic for you, and so therefore you can probably only work this many number of hours. And you should specify how many number of hours you can do, like very specifically, so that there's no like, what's the word?
Stepping over the line, like breaking boundaries.
Yeah.
If you've set their boundaries, it's harder for them to break it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no ambiguity. You've sort of set those expectations, like this is what I can do for you. So if you can support me in that, then that would be awesome. And yeah, I think having that very open, transparent conversation has been really good for people who I've known to have worked in VCE. Yeah. Something that I'm always curious about is, let's say like you say that you put aside time for your social life, let's say.
Yeah.
But sometimes things just happen and like last minute suggestions from friends might be like, let's go to the movies or whatever. So when those sort of things pop up, like what happens then?
I like that question. I was going to say something about that too, because I heard a piece of advice maybe 2 years ago saying like, if something comes up, just take it, because if you've scheduled in time, let's say on Sunday afternoon for something to happen or for you to do something, none of your friends are free, then what are you going to do?
Right.
Like it's Sunday night, people are probably doing homework, like studying for SACs, whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of just saw it as take the opportunity when it comes. If it's something that, I don't know, like you want to do, obviously. If it's something that you enjoy and if it's something that you can fit in. But otherwise, yeah, I would always try to take the opportunity if I felt like I had the time. Because it's not likely to come up at another time. You have FOMO, you're going to miss that time. So I think take the opportunity while you can, and then the homework and other stuff can come when you're free. I found like, especially during exams, my friends knew that I wanted to do well. So they would invite me places, but they would say like, oh, don't feel like you have to come, because obviously you have your English exam in, I don't know, 2 weeks or whatever. So don't feel like you have to come, but if you want to come, the offer's there. And I found that I was taking up those offers every like once in a while, simply because I knew that for my health, I guess, I needed to not be studying 24/7.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like, oh, like you want to get a really high ATAR, whatever. Like, why are you here? Like, go home and study. But it was kind of like, well, I know what I need and I know what I feel like doing right now, and it's not studying. So it's like, I'm not forcing myself to do something where I'll probably just be sitting in front of my books or my computer for 2 hours, barely doing anything, when I could go out for those 2 hours and then come back and actually be productive. Yeah.
Cool. That's really awesome that your friends were so supportive of you. So I guess you still prioritize things by going, okay, do I have time for it? If I did go out with my friends, will I still have time for my homework or whatever later? Okay. You mentioned before that, you know, going out would actually help you be more productive later on.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Not going out in the sense of like drinking and like going partying or whatever, but just like going to get lunch or going out for ice cream or dinner or whatever.
Okay.
I would, like, if I was halfway through a practice exam or something, I wouldn't go and like drop everything for like froyo or something. But if I was feeling like, okay, I'm not really feeling study right now, maybe I've been studying for like 4 hours straight and I need a break, well, I think that's like a really good opportunity to take it. And it'll be like way more rejuvenating, we'll say, to actually go and spend some time with your friends for an hour and a half, whatever, and have a few jokes and laugh a bit and kind of take your mind off things. And then you can come home and study with like a fresh mindset. And if you were struggling with like planning an essay or finding quotes or doing some analysis or whatever, another subject, it would help for me, especially to like walk away for a bit and then come back with a fresh mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So inevitably there'd be some weeks where you would have more work, like more study to do, whether that be for like a SAC or in the lead up to exams, which actually might ask you about that in a second. But how would you organize those, like, you know, 10 to 12 hours that you would do each week? Like, did you ever have to change that up because you had more workload?
Yeah, so I had like a pretty open availability and I was fine with them rostering me kind of similar shifts but slightly different, because I knew, like, I trusted my rostering manager and I knew that she would kind of try to do the right thing by me. But I also kind of saved myself in advance by actually going into my school's like calendar, my SAC calendar, and looking at when my SACs were, and then thinking about my own like study habits and thinking about how many days will I need to study for this SAC, how many days will I have to be free in order to actually feel prepared for this SAC when I walk in. So I would go look at my calendar and then go in and like roster off the days that I didn't want to be working because I had those SACs or
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as you're just like thinking in advance, then it should be pretty straightforward. Planning. What about for exam period?
Well, yeah, for the exam period I took off, I think it was like 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of gave me more time to like go out and see friends and do other things that would actually make me refreshed, because I found that towards the end of the year I was very on the edge of burnout. I was very tired, so I knew that I needed to like do things that would kind of balance out my stress. So go out and have dinner or whatever, and I knew that because I wasn't working, my schedule was pretty open except for when I had to, you know, meet with teachers, go into school for whatever reason, and the actual days of the exams and maybe like the couple of days before I would kind of reserve for studying, but the rest was quite open. Yeah.
How long after your exams did you start working again?
I finished my exams really late. So I did Italian. If anyone knows the exam timetable, they know that Italian is like one of the first orals, and then it's the very last exam. Yeah. So I started my exams, I think my oral exam, is what they call it, was on the maybe like 15th, 17th of October, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I didn't finish exams until the 21st or 22nd of November. Yeah. So then after I finished my exams, I went away for a week. I came back on the 1st of December, and then maybe I started working a few days later.
Okay. That's awesome that you gave yourself still that extra week of break.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for the students watching this just about work-life balance?
I think just be honest with yourself about what you can do and your limits. So I think it worked for me because I knew my study habits, I knew what worked for me and what didn't, and I knew like how I needed to best prepare for SACs and exams. So I think knowing about yourself is like a key in being able to maintain a healthy work-life balance. And I'm not perfect either. Like I had times where I was working too much, like neglecting school a bit, and it's about being honest with yourself and kind of like paring it back and thinking, okay, is this actually manageable, or am I prioritizing the wrong things? So obviously you want to do well in your job and do your job properly, because that could affect your job prospects later on or something like that. But it's also about, okay, what is actually most important to me? And for me, it was about like school, obviously, my education, getting to uni, getting good marks, doing the best that I could. So I had to kind of look at my priorities and at times like reassess what I actually wanted. Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed this video, or if you've got any questions that you wanted to ask Matt, then please feel free to leave them in the comments below. We'll make sure that, you know, we respond to them. Yeah, awesome.
Thanks for watching.
I'm like, what else should I say? You got it. That's why he's content manager. All right, see you guys. Bye.